inflatable fans, I hope you're all well. I am out fanning about with paddles again. And no, that's not my nickname for Steve. That's Nun's Chuff. Right, this is what I mean. I've got a fully carbon Greenland paddle. Came in this nice bag. I ordered it from Amazonia and it took over a month to come from China. Ordered it on the 24th of July and it arrived on the 28th of August. It is adjustable. I can't remember what the adjustment is in terms of what the overall length is, fully adjusted, and what the short length is. I'll put that on the screen. It does have this adjuster here and it is very rigid. There's no rattle on that whatsoever. It feels very nicely made, very light, fully carbon. I'll put the weight on the screen now. And I've never really used a Greenland paddle, and I've had a quick look to see how you hold it, because you do hold it a bit different to a Euro blade. I think I've kind of got the idea. I think we'll soon tell anyway. Let's take it out. I'm going to use the Ottawa. The reason I'm going to use the Ottawa is because it's got that kind of nice, more streamlined vibe, and well, I just think it'd be a nice boat to try it in. There's only one way to find out. Right, let's give this a go. I think this is definitely going to be a wet legs paddle. Let's just wait for Steve. Right, handle's nice though. Yeah, handle's quite nice as this. I think in this particular boat, because it's quite sleek and streamlined, I think you probably can get quite a good speed on this. So, which reminds me, let's turn the old speedo on so that I can do a speed test at some point while we're pottering about. Leave that on now so it'll pick up GPS. It feels so damn light in your hand. It feels nice. So what I found is already, rather than with a Euro paddle, you'd hold the blade here, so hold a loom here so that the blade sits upright. Here you kind of want the blade to be in a more scooped position, so you need your knuckles kind of in line with that, your top knuckles, not these knuckles. And the shape of this lends itself well to being able to do that. If you don't do that, if you try and paddle this like a Euro paddle, the blade will flutter. Yeah, this is alright. I think sometimes, well, I always thought Greenland paddles, you don't seem to move very fast. Because you've only got such a very thin angle going into the water, a thin blade. But it's about the speed of the paddler and where you actually put your power in. The power in this goes in at the back, whereas with a Euro blade, the power goes in more at the front and side. Yeah, I'm feeling that at the back actually. I don't know whether I can show you what I mean here. And I know some of you proper Euroers, sorry, some of you proper Greenlanders will be saying, your technique's all wrong, your technique's all wrong. And you're probably right, but don't worry, I'll work it out. So far, I'm actually quite liking this. More than I thought I would. I'm glad I watched a few videos on how to use this today, and I'm glad I'm willing to tolerate wet legs. Right, it's time to do a little bit of a speed test. So this is from a standing start. So let's see what we can kind of get up to. Right, so 1.4 miles an hour. I'm just going to paddle steady away and then pick up speed as I go. Now, there is a back wind, so I will do a downwind test. but somewhat unbelievably to me, I'm over 4 miles an hour already. Oh no, it's dropped back down. It might have been the GPS settling in. So, what we got? 3.6. It's settled on 3.6 miles an hour. So if I kind of paddle a bit faster, which is kind of easy to do with this because it's so light, doesn't really move the boat any faster. 3.7, 3.8, 4. Got to admit, I didn't expect to get past 4, 4.2. Yeah, 4.2. 4.2, that's not bad. As I say, better than I expected. And that is against the current, but with a back wind. With roughly 1 mile an hour flow going towards me, but there's a bit of a back wind today. So we'll see what it's like on the way back down. It feels better than I expected, and there's less water running down the blades than I expected. If you go slow, the water runs down the blade onto your fingers and hands. However, if you move the paddle relatively quick, you don't get that because it just flings it off. Interesting. Didn't expect that. Because I had been thinking, I wonder if I can put something like a rubber washer around there, a rubber gasket or something, just beyond my hand, just to create like a drip-off effect. Because I'm not going to be using this in true Greenland style, sliding my hands down it and doing stuff like that. I don't think, anyway. Got to admit, that does more than I expected. With my hands all the way down the blade. Interesting. Just letting Steve have a go with it in his park craft. He says, I'm getting nowhere. I was just saying to him, you have to kind of move it a little bit faster to stop you getting water in the boat. He's kind of getting the hang of it now. It is a bit of an art with those. Nice turn. So we've paddled upriver for a little bit. Just been yammering actually, me and Steve. We turned around, we're going to try and hide in those trees because, well, you can see what's behind them. And it's blowing this way. But so far, I'm quite liking this paddle. I've kind of got the knack of moving it, you know, relatively quick to reduce splash in the boat. And it's nice, it moves the boat quite nicely. So I'm paddling into a headwind just at the minute. And I'm doing 2.8 to 3. And as you can see, I'm not pulling particularly hard. Yeah, I'm up to 3 now. One of the things that is quite noticeable is just how little splash you get on entry. Oh, that wind's whipping up. Let's get into the edge. Alright, so downriver speed test. Let's just give this a bit of a blast. 2.7, 2.9, 3.2, 3.3. I'm not pulling particularly hard, I'm just pulling steady away. 3.4, 3.5, 3.5. Okay, so let's pull a little bit harder. 3.8, 3.9, 4, 4. Yeah, 3.94 miles an hour it's hovering on. So a little bit slower than a Euro blade, but it's so light and so efficient. Yeah, I think you could go for a long time with this without feeling it on your kind of shoulders and so on. When you paddle relatively rapidly, it throws water into the water rather than over the boat. And for me, that's a good thing. Well, we've arrived back where we launched. So to wrap this video up, I'm going to say I'm happy I bought this. I will be giving this a bit more of an outing and a test in other crafts. And yeah, I'm actually quite liking it. I'll put a link to this in the pinned comment and description so you can check it out. If you do order one, just bear in mind a month for delivery, just over a month. That's what mine took. I think, because of the size of it, I think it's one of those things that they send over land. Yeah, I'm liking this. I find this is kind of like an optimum speed for paddling because it keeps water out of the boat because it splashes in front. I find if I go slow, then water runs down the blade. You can probably see that. It's got time to run down the blade into the boat. However, there's kind of like an optimum speed. That's about it. And you don't get it in the boat. This is really good to know. I've really enjoyed testing this out today. And I've kind of got the stroke off so you don't get flutter on the blade. If you watch what my hands are doing, they're only kind of loosely held on here. Push and pull, push and pull. Yeah, nice, I'm liking it. Alright, that's all for this video. You know what to do if you like what I'm doing on this channel. Like I say, I'll put links in the pinned comment and description so you can check this out if you want. I'm rambling. You take care of yourself. Cheerio.